Hi my friends, welcome to another exciting one. Today we are doing this cosmetic product render from scratch. It looks very simple to the eye, but trust me, there's a lot we are going to learn along the way. So open up your blender and let's go. So as usual, let's start from scratch. So open up your blender and then hit on general to start with a fresh blender file. So let's select our lamp here, X, to delete it from the scene, and then let's use our default cube as a starter. So select your default cube, tab into edit mode, and then let's add in a couple of flip cuts here and there. So Ctrl plus R, we add one here and then another one here, right? So next let's select our S select mode, and let's select all the edges on the sides like this, and then let's scale it out, right? So if we hit on S to scale, you see we have something like this. Let me jump into edit mode. Let me turn my camera so that you see what we have. This is not what we want. We want to scale it on the X axis and then the Y axis without scaling it in the Z axis, right? So if we do S, we hold Shift Z, and then it will be conformed to only the X and then the Y axis, and then we can scale it out like this, right? So next let's tab out of edit mode and then Shift D to create a duplicate, and then let's bring the duplicate up somewhere here, right? We are going to use it later for the top part of the lipstick. So let's select this one once again, tab into edit mode, and let's select everything, and then let's hit on S to scale it up, something like this. It's fine. So this will be the body, and then this will be the top part, right? So let's tab out of edit mode, select this one, and let's hide it from our scene for now. We're going to bring it in back later. So let's focus on this one. So let's create the inner part. So let's select it, tab into edit mode, then let's select these four faces here. So I'll go to my face mode, select these four faces, and I'll hit on I to create an extrusion like this, right? So once the extrusion is created, right click and then look for your loop tools and hit on circle, right? So if you don't have your loop tool active, it's an add-on, so just go to your preference, go to your add-ons, and then search for loop tool. So once you have it, just click on it to activate it, right? So it gives us some extra cool features like right click, loop tool, and then circle, and then it will create a circle out of what we had, right? So we can have this circle right here. So next let's extrude it inside. So I'm going to click here to make sure I have my wireframe mode active so that I can see what's happening inside. So let's hit on E for extrusion, and then we can extrude it inside to somewhere here, right? And then let's hit on E to extrude once again, and then S to scale it down, right? So once we are S to scale it down, and then let's go to our point select mode and then select this point at the middle, and then we can do G Z to bring it out like this, right? So that we have something nice like this. So if it gets too down and you want to bring it up, all you have to do is do Control plus. With this selected, just do Control plus and then Control plus once again, and then you can do GZ to bring it up to somewhere here. So I think this is fine for me. Tab out of edit mode, then this is what we have, right? So next let's hide our wireframe. Let's make sure we have our solid shading mode active, so we have this kind of hole here for the body, right? So next let's add in subdivision surface and see what we have. So we do we do Control plus 2 to add in our subdivision surface. This is what we have. Let's go to our modifiers tab, add in a modifier, and then let's add in a bevel modifier, right? So add in a bevel modifier, change it, make the bevel first before the subdivision, and then let's right click, shade it smooth. So this is what we have, and then let's add in some segments to our bevel. So the bevel, we increase the segments to 3 like this, and then we can change the angle to, let's say, 60, right? So it's looking nice, and then we can decrease the amount a bit to make it sharper. So depending on what you want, right? So I'll go with 0.69, but depending on how smooth you want the edges to be, you can increase or decrease it, right? So this is what we have. Let's tab into edit mode again, and then let's create the inside. So I'll hit here to go to my wireframe mode, and then I'll hit Control plus to increase my selection. Or you go to select, more, and then you hit on more to increase your selection, right? So I just want to select all the inner parts. So it's simple. Just select one tip here, right? And then you go to select more or less, and then you hit on more to increase it to the next level, and then you hit Control plus till you have this entire area selected. So once it's selected, make sure you change it to your face select mode so that you have this entire face is selected. All you need to do is do Shift plus D to create a duplicate, and then P, and then we separate it by selection, right? So we have this, the inner part as a different object, and then the outer part too as a different object. So we have two objects here. So we have one, the inside, and then two, the outside. So let's rename it quickly so that we don't forget. So let's do body, and then let's do inside, and then let's bring back this cube here, and then we use it as the top part. So let's double click and then name it top, right? So we have everything nicely organized here. So let's tap out of edit mode, and then let's focus on the top part. So what we are going to do is just apply the same modifiers we have with this one. So we select this, hold shift click to select this, Control L, and then we do copy modifiers, so that everything from here, all the modifiers from here, will be applied to this one as well. Right click, and then let's shade it smooth. So we have this, right? So next, what we have to do is go to our left orthographic view, select this one, hit on G, Z, and then bring it down until it's touching, right? Let's scale it up a bit, like this, right? So we can select both of them if it looks too long, and then S to scale it down, and let it as it's like that. Sorry, select everything, then S to scale it down, right? It's just a matter of preference. Yeah, I think this looks fine for me. So select everything again, Control plus A, and then let's apply the scale, right? Apply the scale so that everything looks nice, right? Let's add in some materials and shading, and then we can move ahead to the animation, the fun part, right? So to add in some materials, as we always do, let's bring our mouse here. Let me right click and then join area, and then I can just, this thing don't want to work, so let me just right click and then split vertical. Then I can bring my mouse wheel here, and then I will drag this to this side to create an extra space here for our materials, right? So let me hit on my camera to bring in my camera here, right? So I'll hit on T to hide this so that we have this big camera view here. Then let me hit on N, and then we go to our view, and then lock camera to view to lock it to the view, right? Okay, so let's position it in our scene, and then let's change this from shade to shader editor so that we have our shader editor here. Let's change this from object to world so that we can add in our HDRI, right? So if we come to our render engine, EV, let's change it to cycles. Then let's change it from CPU to GPU compute, right? So this will be where we render our scene, and then let's add in our light. So now if we hit on render here, you see this is what we have. We don't have light, so we can't see anything. So now let's go to our world, select this background here, and then do control plus T to add in an environment texture, right? Let's hit on open, and then let's locate our HDRI, and then let's plug in any HDRI for now. So find any HDRI and then add it to your scene, right? Let's make the HDRI transparent. So let's go to our film, and then let's check transparent to hide the HDRI from the scene, right? So before we continue, let's do Control plus S to save our scene. So I'll save it as lib 2. Then let me save my scene into any folder I want. Now let's focus on the top part. So let's select this top part and then let's change this from world to object. So there's a material already applied to it, so we are going to use that material, right? So if no material is applied to it, you just need to click on add to add in a new material, right? So we're going to change the base color to black like this. Then we add in a coat, then change the tint to black, and then we increase the weight to 1, right? Can decrease the roughness for this one, and then we have this nice coat, right? Can decrease the roughness a bit. Let's play around with it, but this was something like this is what we are going for. So we have this nice coat material at the top. So next, let's add in an extra layer of detail. So let's select this, right click. So we tab into edit mode with this, right? Control R. Then let's add in a couple of loop cuts here, right? So we've created some loop cuts, and then let's hit on slash to isolate this object here, right? And then let's do the same. Let's select everything. So I'll go to my face select mode. I'm going to select this bottom part right here and give it a different material. So I'll click on shift select, right? And then shift plus alt click to select this entire part. Then let's go to our materials properties here. Then hit on this plus icon to create a new material. Then hit on new to assign a new material to it, right? So once we create a new material, all you need to do is click on assign. Then the new material will be assigned to that part, right? So next, this new material is going to be simple. Let's make it metallic, and then let's decrease the roughness a bit so that it looks like this. So this material looks shiny like this. So there's the other material we created. So next, let's hit on our slash to bring back the bottom part, and then let's select the bottom part, and then let's add in a transmission, right? So let's go to our principal BSDF, the transmission tab, and then let's increase the transmission to 1, right? So that we have a glass material. Then let's decrease the roughness to make it transparent like this, and then we can make the base color more white, pure white, so that it's purely glass material, right? So we can check our face orientation and see that everything is working nicely, right? So this is what we have so far. Now, if you remember, there's something in the inside that will show the main color of our lip gloss. So let's select the inside from here. As you can see, it's highlighted here. And then let's change the base color. It's going to be a simple material, so we can change the base color. So both the inside and then this are using the same material, right? So let's do Ctrl Z to go back, and then let's make sure we have our base color to white, right? If it's not confusing. So now let's select the inside, and then let's hit on this to create a new material altogether, right? And then let's hit on new to create a new material, and then now we can just change the color of the inside part to give it this sweet looking material, right? You can increase the coat if you want to make it more shiny, only the inside part, right? So now if you take a look, we need to scale the inside part a bit so that it fits with the inside glass a bit, right? So now let me tab into edit mode. Sorry, let me select the inside parts, right? And then let me hit on S for scale, then hold my shift so that I can scale it out a bit. As you can see what's happening until it fits the inside walling much better. So we have something like this. This looks nice and beautiful, right? Now let's add in a little bit of detail, some branding as elements to this part, to the top parts of our model. So let's select our model, then let's go to our shader. Make sure we have this black material selected, so not this one but this one, right? So let's add in an image texture, and then let's plug the color into a bump. So the bump, go with the strength, we can change it to the height, right? Now let's plug this normal into this normal, since we added a quote, right? And then let's just add it to this normal as well, right? So then this normal is plugged into this normal and then this normal, right? Then let's select this image and then let's hit on Ctrl plus T. Make sure the texture coordinate is set to UV, and then let's add in our image, right? So as you can see, it's just a text that I'm going to use for this, so to keep everything simple. So I have lips written and then blender. So let me just double click to add it into our scene. So as you can see, if you take a look at this side, you can see it's written on the side like this, right? It's nicely written here. Okay, so this is what we are going to use. Okay, so next let's go into our UV editing and then make sure everything is set properly. Okay, so let's hit on UV editing and then let's unwrap it nicely, right? So it's going to be affected only at this side. So let's select these 4 parts here, right? So these are the 4 parts here. And then let's just drag like this to select them. And then let's position them in place properly, right? Let's scale it like this. So I'm just scaling it until it looks proportionally nice, right? And then we can just drag to position it wherever we want. So I'm going to leave mine here, right? So I have something nicely like this, right? So the rest of the parts, just select this part and then select everything so that everything is highlighted, right? So if you select any part, hit on L to select the entire part and then S to scale it down, and then we can bring it to this side so that the rest of the parts don't get affected by what we have here. So we have this nice lipstick going on for us, right? So next, let's do the same. Let's put the blender on the glass. So the same process. Let's go to our layout. So we have this lips here nicely. It's a nice extra detail. So let's select our glass, and then so for the glass we are going to use 2 shaders to do this, to achieve that. So let's add in a mix shader. So we do mix and then we do mix shader, and let's put it in the middle like here, and then let's select this one and then just shift plus D to create a duplicate, and then let's plug this one into the bottom. So what the mix shader does is it looks at these 2 shaders, and then for this one let's make the transmission 0, and then let's make it metallic, right? So it makes these 2 shaders based on this factor. So now the factor is set at 50.5 in the middle. So what it means is it takes a little bit from here and then a little bit from here, right? So if you change the factor to 1, it uses everything at the top, and then if you change the factor to 1 like this, it uses everything at the bottom. Then if you change the factor to 0, it uses everything at the top, right? So we are going to plug in the same image to use it to control these 2 textures. So let's do Shift plus A, and then let's go to our color. Let's go to our shader, Shift A, and then let's look for image texture. Let's bring it here, and then let's click here, and then let's select our lips, just the image you added, and let's plug in the color to the factor, and let's plug this here so that we have this, right? And then we want the white part, so this part to be the color of the texture. So let's swap this here. Yeah, so this is what we want, right? So something like this, but we're going to fix this in a moment. So with this selected, let's hit Ctrl plus T and make sure it's set to UV, right? So now we can jump into the UV editor to fix this mess, to make it beautiful. So let's select this, go to our UV editing, and then so this part here, so we're going to select just this face here, and then G to bring it here. Then we can scale it up. Scale it down so that it looks proportionally well. As you can see, the bottom part is skewing down. So with our point select mode, we can select these 2 points here, and then we do S to scale it down until we have everything looking well. A to select everything, then S to scale it up. Right. So I have something like this. Then we can position it everywhere, anywhere we want, like this. So this is what we want. This is what we are looking for. Let me bring it up a bit. It's looking nice, but there's a duplicate here. So let's do the same trick. Let's hit on this, then hit on A to select everything. Select this island here, L to select everything, and then hit on S to scale it down, and then we can position it somewhere here. Right. Then next, let's go to our layout. So with this selected, with this image, let's change the repeat to clip. So it clips to only one side. Right. Oh, let's just make it repeat. And let's go to our UV editing once again. Sorry. And then maybe we can just scale, select this one. Just to hide this B here, you can just scale it down. Then maybe position it well. So this B is hidden. So we are perfect. Right. So we are done. Let's go back to our layout. Then we are done. So this our basic model here. We have the blender written on this side. And everything is looking nice. So now let's move into the animation. So I'll do Ctrl+S to save my progress so far. And then let's jump into the animation aspect of it. So before we start with the animation, let's create our backdrop. So let's do Shift A, mesh, and then let's add in a plane. Let's scale it up to make it bigger. Then let's do G to bring it down up to here. Let's scale it up even more. And then let's tab into edit mode. Select this edge here, E to extrude it up like this. So I have this face here. All right. So let's change our camera from 1080 now 1920 to 1080 by 1080. So we change this 1920 to 1080. So that we have a square, right? So we have a big square like this. You can see everything nicely. Next, so what we're going to do is let's add in a cylinder. So shift A, and then let's tab out of edit mode, Shift A, and let's add in a cylinder. So with this cylinder added, let's make sure the vertices is set to 16. And then, yeah, so the cylinder is added, right? So let's select this entire thing here. So both the body, the inside, and then the top. And let's hold on Shift click to make sure we have the body active. And then Ctrl+P, and then we keep transform to keep object, right? So we have parented everything to this body. So now if we move the body, everything will move with it, right? So now let's scale it down. S to scale it down, right? And then G to bring it up like this. So I have something like this. Okay. So this is what we have, right? So now let's create the various platforms that we are going to use to drive the animation. So let me select this, and then right click, shade it smooth, and then do the same thing. So I'll copy the modifiers of this bottle. So Ctrl+L, and then copy modifiers, right? So that if I go to my modifiers tab, a bevel and then a subdivision will be applied to this one. So this will be the starting point. So let's hit on slash to isolate only this one, right? And then let's create some duplicates to create the rest of the platform, right? So with this selected, I'll do tab into edit mode, right? So that you are in edit mode, and then everything selected, I'll do Shift D, Now duplicate one here, and then S to scale it on the Z axis so that it's a bit taller. Shift D, S, Z, Shift D, once again, S, and then Z to scale it down. So we have Shift D for the last one, then S, Z to scale it down like this, right? So once we have done, we do A to select everything, and then hit on P and then separate by loose parts, right? So it's going to separate each individual platform into a single object. So if I hit on tab, now we have this object, this one, and then this one, right? So next, let's align them to the bottom part. So I'll select everything and then hit F3 to bring up this search, right? And then we search for align object. So we just select object, transform, and then align object, right? So we align objects like this. Then we align it on the Z axis, right? And then the align mode, we change it to negative side, right? So that everything will be aligned to the bottom of all these objects will be aligned to the bottom like this, right? Nice. So now if I tab out of edit mode, this is what we have. But then let's fix their object orientation. So all of them have their orientation at this point, right? As you can see. So let's select everything, then go to our object, set orientation, and then origin to geometry, so that each of them have their orientation right in the middle of their geometries, right? So next, this is out of shape. Now let me just do GZ to bring it back in line. Let's properly align all of them. So I'll bring this here, then I'll select this. I'll select this one, G, to bring it close, G to bring this one close again, G to bring it close. To move faster, you can just click here, so that if you select, you can just drag to bring it closer, so that all of them are properly aligned like that, right? So select all of them, and then hit slash to bring back everything. And then let's go to our front view like this, and then we can just drag to bring them up like this until they are all lying on top like this. And then let's select this one and bring it down till it's touching this platform here, right? So next we are just going to create a duplicate of these objects and then align all of them, each of them sitting on one of the platforms, right? So this is the body. You have everything inside, so I'll just right click and then hit on select hierarchy, and then all of them will be selected, right? So I'll just go to my front view so that it will be easier for me. Then I'll do Shift D to create a duplicate, and I'll position it somewhere here. Shift D, position this one here. Shift D, position this one here, and then the last one will come to this side, right? So that we have these nicely placed. So the next thing we are going to do is, instead of animating individual ones, we are just going to animate the platforms they are standing on. So to do that, we have to parent each object to the platform, right? Let me just bring this down a bit, make sure it's a bit accurate. You know, if you want an animation, you just have to put in the time. It's very tedious, but it's fun as well. So everything is touching perfectly, right? So let's parent all these objects to the individual platforms, right? So now everything is parented to this body here. So if I move this body, all of these are moved with it. So let's parent this body to this one, right? So I'll click on this to select the body, and then hold on Shift to select this one, and then do Ctrl+P, and then I'll do the same thing for all of them. Right, So now if I move this platform, the corresponding object is going to move along with it as well, right? So now if we just have to animate the platforms, and then the objects will be animated with it as well, right? So let's move on to the animation part, right? I'll right click and then go to my timeline to bring out this timeline, right? So start to end, I'll set my end to something like 100. This is going to be a very short animation, right? So I'll move this timeline forward to, let's say, 30, right? Then I'll select all of the platforms. Be very, very mindful of this. So let's select all of these platforms here. Let me just go back here so that we can see what we are doing very nicely. So let's select everything, and then we hit on I. So we add in a location and then a rotation keyframe. So if I click on it, you see a keyframe will be added here, but then it's added for each individual, right? So each of them have one keyframe positioned right here at point 30, right? So this will be the ending frame, right? So let's select everything once again. Now let's go back to the start. So let's go back to 10 frames, right? Now let's bring this down. Okay. So let's bring it down like this. Okay, so we have everything down like this. And then, so once they are down here, we are going to add a rotation again. So let me hit on R to add in a rotation on the Z axis of each individual object. Right, so now if I start to rotate, you can see all of them are rotating the same place, but that's not what we want. So let's come to this top part here, right? And then we change the transform pivot to individual origin, right? So now if we do R, X, and rotate, you can see all of them are rotating from how they are supposed to, right? So R, X, and then rotate it to something like this, right? So it's going to start from this, and then it will be rotated into the scene. So now we can hit on I, and then we add in location and rotation at frame 10, right? So now if we play our animation, this is what we have. So I hit on space to play. You see, do we have our animation playing nicely, right? Like that. Nice and beautiful. So let's select everything, right click, and then the easing mode, let's change it to ease in out, right click, and then interpolation mode, we can try with these interpolations until we find something nice. So let's do exponential. Let's see what we have. It's too fast, so let's just do quadratic. Yeah, you see it's entering in very smoothly, right? Nice. So now we have to stagger all of them. So we want this to come first, followed by this, and then the last one, right? So to do that, select this one. You see, start from frame 10 to 30. So we move our keyframe to, let's say, 15 frames, right? And then we select this one, and then we just hit on G to move the frame so that it starts from frame 15. Select this one. No, let's start from frame 20. And then select this one. We start from frame 30. Select this one. Then we start from frame 40. Select this one. Then we start from frame 50, right? So now let's play our animation and see what we have. You see, so we have something like this. All of them are staggered, starting from this one, right? So if it looks so far apart for you, you can just adjust the keyframing once again, I hope this is clear for you. Right, so I can just let's hide this plane so that we see what we are doing well. Right, so this first one start from frame 10, right, and then the next one start from frame 20, so we can bring it up a bit. So let's, instead of starting from 20, let's bring it to 15, and then we can do the rest for the rest. So we're just keeping the same difference in keyframe, right? So now if we play our animation, it will look something like this, right? Right, so you can play around with this keyframing, the offsets, so that you find something that works for you. But basically that's it, right? It looks nice for me, so I'm going to leave it like this, right? So next, since we are basically done with our animation, let me go into my render view once again. Then let's add in some materials for this one. So right click, change it to my shader editor. Let me drag and bring this up here. And then we can add in a new material to this object. Then we can change the principled BSDF. So we can change this one. And then let's add in, make it something like this. Right, and then let's select all these, and then shift select this to make this the last one, Control L, and then let's link materials as well. So all of them are using the same materials. So select this, make it a bit rough, so it's shiny, then a bit metallic like this, right? Here we have this, right? So let me bring my timeline once again. Right, so now basically our animation is done. Let's look for a proper so I'll go to my shader editor, go to my world, and then I'll play around with the lighting, but I'm using an HDRI, so I'll just cycle through them until I find the one that looks very nice for this particular animation. And then I can go with that, right? So you can obviously add in your own colors. Let me drag this one and change it to my timeline so that I can scroll through my animation, right? You can see how animation is looking nice, right? So you can cycle through your own colors if you want, your own HDRI, so you find what looks very nice for this particular scene. This looks too bright. I think I'll go with this one. Yeah, so next we can add in a couple of lights if we want to help with the reflection. So I'll add in an area light here. I'll bring it here, scale it up, and then S to scale it up. Now point it to our scene, scaling it up, and then I'll increase the power from this to, let's say, 1000, right? Scale it up, and let's do 2000, right? To add in a light from this side, you can even add in some colors to your light just to hone in the mood a bit. So Shift D duplicates this one, bring it to this side, and then you can position this one to this side again, right? So we are basically done with our scene. From here onwards, you can just play around till you find what works best for you. But basically this is it for the animation. So next, even adding more details, we can change the color of our pigment. So let's just double click to make sure we have this selected. Let me just make sure our face is looking where it is supposed to look. So I'll turn on face orientation, and then as you can see, it's looking upside down. So let's recalculate this normals, right? So tab into edit mode, A to select everything, and then hold Alt plus N, and then we can do flip so that it's flipped on the other side, right? We can even fill in this side, so we can do E, S, and ES, and then we can just do F to fill it up, adding loop cut right here. So I will have this, right? So this looks even nicer, right? So next, let's bring everything. Let's hide this face orientation, and then let's add in some random to these colors, right? So to do that, it's quite simple. So let's change this from world to object, and then with this principal BSDF selected, let's add in a color ramp. So input, no, let's add in a color ramp here, and then the factor, let's set for random, not particle, sorry. So random, let's go to object info, and then let's look for random like this. So we have our object info node, it's set to random, and then it's placed to the factor, and then this will be placed into the base color here. So we have different random colors. Now we can just change this color here to this red here. Then we can add in some extra stops. So let's just, since we are adding in a quote, right? So let's place this color to here again, and then we can bring this here, add in a plus to create even more stops, and then let's change this color to a different color. Let's change this one to a different color, and then finally we can change this to a different color as well. So I have some random materials inside, right? Right, so it makes everything looks very, very nice, as you can see. And then finally we can, I think this side looks dark still, so let me just bring my light in like this, and maybe increase the power to 3000, then change this color to white like that, right? Yeah. So next, just position your camera properly in your scene. Until I get this nice reflection. Shift S, and then let's go to our render properties. You can change the color management to high contrast to give it even more contrast. I'll hide these two here, right? And then next, all you have to do is change our max sample to, let's say, 100, so that we can quickly render everything. And then here you go to this side here, so our output, and then we can locate where we want to output our final file, right? So it's going to be an animation. You just go, you need to create a folder, and then maybe name it renders, right? Then open, then accept, and then you can make sure file format, you can just render as a video, or you can leave it at PNG. But if you render a PNG, it's going to render a PNG sequence, and then maybe you can later on add it. You can later on add the animation inside After Effects or maybe inside Blender, right? But for now, let's make it simple. So let's leave it at this FFmpeg video, and then you can hit on render animation, and then your final animation will be rendered. But for now, I'm just going to render as image to see my final image here, right? So this is the final image rendered here. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. I know it's a bit too long, but I want to explain everything so that everyone from any level can follow along and understand, so that all of us grow together. See you on the next one. is my friend. Peace out. Thank you for watching.